Hello everyone and welcome back to a new reading vlog. I am up pretty early because I want to get started on work, but before I do so, I will tell you about a book I finished late last night, and that is this gigantic Lethal White by Robert Galbraith, the fourth book in the Cormoran Strike series, which I was eagerly anticipating. And I must say, having now finished over 600 pages, I was mildly disappointed, even though I was also entertained. Basically, I feel like this book is way too long, and it's a crime story, which means that it comes with a lot of intricate plot and a lot of different storylines that you need to keep track of, and you can guess yourself how many of those there are in such big a book. And by the end, when I was reading this book, I was reading it just to finish it. I wasn't necessarily reading it because I was eager to find out what had happened during that crime. Nevertheless, it was good to be back with Robin and Strike. But once again, I need to put down this book, it's way too heavy. But once again, these characters also frustrated me a little bit because they basically made some decisions that were stupid and that could have been prevented if only people had communicated and didn't keep on misunderstanding each other. And I didn't really care for that bit. So all in all, I did feel entertained, but I also felt mildly disappointed. So I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. And now it's time for some breakfast and a cup of coffee. I'm currently reading a book which I'm not quite sure about. I'm more than halfway through it, and this is the novel The Upstairs Room, which is a horror story based on a haunted house. The beginning of the book was actually quite good and gripping, but I'm now over halfway through it and I'm slowly losing interest, and I'm definitely not into it at the moment. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my shelves and pick a book that I would like to read this afternoon. Not all of the book, but at least get started whilst drinking my mug of coffee. Cheers! I think I have my choice. The thing is that you know me, and you know that while I'm reading a book, I already know what book I want to pick up next. However, that might change while reading the book I'm currently reading. So I had 3 books in mind, which I've now picked up. I think I'm actually going to read a bit from all of them today, and then possibly make these my next week's reads, if that makes sense. First of all, I've been really in the mood for a classic, so I picked up this one. This is the first in a trilogy called They Were Counted by Miklos Banfi. I'm wondering, I think this is the first book. I'm pretty sure it is, yes. So this is based on Russian classics. It's kind of like Tolstoy, which I think is perfect for the cold, wintry months. So this might be it. But the thing is, it's quite a huge novel. I've also picked up Nevernight by J. Christoph, a fantasy novel, which I read the first chapter up in a video I did about trying out the first chapters of some books. And I really loved that first chapter. So while that is fresh in mind, I thought it would be nice to maybe pick up this one. So that might be an option. And then to go in a completely different direction, which has nothing to do with classics, nothing to do with fantasy, I chose a Jojo Moyes. This is the second book in the Me Before You trilogy, which I bought this summer. It's in Danish, and I feel like if I'm going to actually read these books, I will have a need for some light literature as well, so this will be perfect for that. So I guess I'm all set for a very cozy afternoon at home reading. This book turned out to be a really creepy read actually. I literally just finished it, and it's one of the creepiest books I've read recently. That being said, it also comes with its parts that are very down to earth, not about the creepy story at all, and it's more about the characters and how they met, how they have developed, and that made for a pretty strange mixture of creepiness and ordinariness, which I didn't really care for, but having now finished it, I am definitely impressed. I think I'm going to give it 3 stars just because of those parts that felt out of place and they didn't really fascinate me that much. So basically this book is about the upstairs room. We have a family who moves into a house in London which is old and which is very creepy, and there is something going on in the upstairs room which affects the people living in the house, and things get out of hand, and it's just so uncanny and scary, and definitely one of the better scary reads I can recommend if you want a newer one. I'm getting quite hungry, so let's see how far dinner is coming along. And today I'm having very easy dinner, mashed potatoes together with chicken. I know Zeus would like this as well, but he's not getting any. Today is the first day of my fall break, so I have a whole week off from work, and I literally just finished filming my TBR for this fall break. While I was editing, I felt a sudden urge to enjoy the lovely weather and make a trip to the library and check out what they had. So I brought home 3 books with me, which I guess are now my fall break TBR, even though I didn't plan on that, but as you know, my reading plans change all the time. So the 3 books I got were, first of all, this one by John Boyne, The Absolutist, which I borrowed because I recently read The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne, and I loved that book. It was my favorite book of the year so far, so I knew I wanted to read more by him, and when I found this one, I immediately grabbed it. I also got another book which I didn't plan on getting, but when I saw it on the shelves, I decided now was the time to read it, and that is The Book of Dust by Philip Pullman, the first book in La Belle Sauvage series. Or actually, I think the series is called The Book of Dust, and then this book is called La Belle Sauvage. Anyway, I wasn't planning on reading this book because while I enjoyed his dark materials, I didn't completely love it. But when I heard Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish Musings rave about this book the other day, I felt compelled to pick it up. So here we have it. And then the last book I picked up is The Little Stranger by Sarah Waters. I've been curious to read this one because the movie is coming out and I haven't read this one, and I am sort of a fan of Sarah Waters. I mean, she is interesting, but I also sometimes don't really like her books. So I decided to give it a try, especially because this is about a haunted house and we are in October, and I actually did read the first pages of all 3 books while being at the library, and the book that appealed to me the most of the 3 right now is this one. So I think this is going to be my first read of my fall break. But first of all, I'm going to get me some lunch because I am super hungry, and I actually grabbed me some food while being at the library, so I have my afternoon all planned up. Zeus, don't get too comfortable. No, Zeus. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zeus, and today I would like to discuss some books, or tuna. Maybe tuna is the better option because I love tuna just as my mother loves books. So why not talk about tuna? That's my question. Anyway, I think that's all I had to say. So let me just get comfortable down here and then go take a nap. Bye bye, and thank you for watching, and have a nice tuna day. The Little Stranger by Sarah Waters turned out to be the perfect book for this time of year. It is about a family who lives in a kind of a haunted house, but the haunting parts don't turn up until the second part of the book. So the first part is very much about these same 4 or 5 characters that we follow, and they get to develop and form relationships, and it's a very slow going book which might put off some people, but I really liked it, and I liked how it gradually got even more intense and things got out of hand, and it was just one of the better books I've read by Sarah Waters. My favorite by her is still Fingersmith. I stand by that, but this one is also really, really good compared to one other I've read of hers, which I didn't really like. I definitely recommend it, as long as you know that it's kind of slow going and it's more about the characters and the class system in England in the 1940s than it is about the horrible aspect and ghosts, even though they are also present in the book. I think I'm going to the library again, because out of the 3 books I borrowed the other day, I have now finished the first book, which was quite an experience, and then I realized that this one by John Boyne, The Absolutist, is about the First World War, and I'm not very much in the mood for a war story. So even though I love John Boyne, I think I'm going to find another book by him at some other point in time and read that one instead. And then this one, I'm kind of on the fence about actually returning it to the library, because I am going there today and I don't know, it's not on my reading list, and it was just on a whim that I picked it up, so I don't think I'm actually going to want to read it. Meaning that I actually want to read it, but not that much. So basically, I'm going to the library again today to return those 3 books and try and find one book that I know they have by Bill Bryson. So let's see if I will be able to find that one. Hi! Hi, honey. Oh, what you doing in there? Hi? No, you're adorable. I got the book I was looking for, which is In a Sunburnt Country, and I read the first chapter at the library and very much liked it, but now it's time to go bake some chocolate chip cookies because it's my birthday soon and I'm having my entire family over for a birthday party on Saturday. It's only been 2.5 days. No, it's only been 2 days since I checked out In a Sunburnt Country by Bill Bryson from the library, and I'm almost already done with it. I think I have about 50 pages left, which I plan on enjoying tonight and tomorrow on Sunday, which is my last day of my fall break. So basically, I have devoured this book. I find it to be very educating, very entertaining and humoristic. Not to forget, I really love his writing, and I actually have 2 other books on hold at the library by Bill Bryson, which I look forward to checking out and reading in the upcoming days. Needless to say, I love this book. It's easily a 4 or 5 star read, but I will have to finish it before I can be sure about that. It is non-fiction after all, and it's a bit weird sometimes to rate non-fiction, but anyway, I'm thoroughly enjoying it and I love discovering new authors that I love, so this is one of those cases. Look what a gorgeous snow globe, or glitter globe I guess, I got from my birthday. I had my family over today and we have here a nice cat on top of a stack of books, and look at this glorious view. I mean, come on, this was the perfect gift for me. And it now has a stable place on my bookshelves. Not here, but somewhere on these shelves. Mommy got some new shoes and Zeus got a new box, right? Today is my birthday and I am now 31 years old. But I'm okay and I'm having a very good and relaxing Monday back at work after a vacation. It's fine. But I wanted to show you this book which I have received as a birthday present from my parents. This is Hired 6 Months Undercover in Low Wage Britain by James Bloodworth. That's the book. This is a non-fiction book about a man who tries to work undercover in Britain, and I love these kinds of non-fictional books. I love when people go undercover and write about their experiences in the society that they are living in and observations that they make. So I knew this was a book that I wanted to read, and I'm so delighted that my parents decided to give it to me. And also it's a pretty beautiful cover. I like it. I'm actually heading out to the library yet again. I don't know what it is about me this month, but I tend to use the library more and more. This time it's to find 2 books on hold for me, both by Bryson, and I will show you the books when I get home. I am back from the library, and the 2 books I got by him are Notes from a Small Island, which is about England, and I also got A Walk in the Woods, which I started reading at the library, so this is going to be my next read. I have in my hands a brand new book that I would like to open. Ooh, and it's a beauty. This is the book Miklas Banfi's They Were Divided, the last book in the Hungarian classic trilogy, which I'm currently reading. I'm still reading the first book, which is taking me some time, but it's not because I'm not liking it at all. It's just because I have some library books I have to get to first. Let me just check the bookmark. What is the bookmark? A new one. Plot Clash. That's a new one. But actually, let me show you the first book in the trilogy, and let's see how far I've made it so far. The first book in the trilogy is definitely the biggest one, and I'm trying to do this one-handed. I'm currently 430 pages into it, and it's about 650 pages, I believe. So I now have the 3rd book to look forward to as well, as soon as I've read the 2nd book, which I'm looking at on my shelves. I'm also currently reading A Walk in the Woods by Bryson, and I plan on finishing that one tonight or tomorrow. It's another great non-fiction book about doing a hike in America. This is a specific trail he is walking, and as per usual, he writes with humor and it's very educating. But I will say that this book very much reminds me of another book I read in May, and that is of course Wild by Cheryl Strait. I'm not saying that the 2 books are written in the same manner, but when you read about a hike and a trail you are following, then the strategy that you use is very much the same, and I feel like there are a lot of resemblances between their 2 journeys. But nevertheless, I'm very much enjoying A Walk in the Woods, and as I said, I plan on finishing that one very, very soon, and it's another 4-star read for me. And now the trilogy is complete. It's so gorgeous. It is the end of the month, and I last night finished this big classic, which you know I've been spending the past weeks reading and really loving, and I did love it till the end, so I obviously gave it 5 stars. I think that this is a very cozy and well-written classic set in Hungary, and it deals with so many things, you know, those big classics which have duels in them and great dancers and love affairs. It has carnivals and festivals, and it has gambling in it. So many things that you can't even imagine, and still you can, because this is one of those classics that you read if you want a really truly great story. And this one happens to be set in Hungary, so definitely one I recommend, and I am very much looking forward to continuing reading this trilogy. But I think I might save the 2nd book for maybe December. And if you can hear any noises, that's Zeus eating his breakfast. That concludes my October reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I will see you again in my November reading vlog. So until then, have a great day and happy reading.